people to know who I am.
They're gonna know. Okay, so sitting in the house today,
Yeah.
we have the world famous inventor of Tetris, Alexey Pajinov. Wonderful to see you, by the way. It's been donkey's years. Last time we met was in Hank's ranch, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And Hank, who is the publisher of Tetris, and me, I designed the logo.
There you go.
Many of them. And Henk and Alexey are in England because they're making a movie of the Tetris story.
About the peak of Tetris story, actually.
Yeah, the exciting part of the Tetris story.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, it starts with me finding Tetris at the Consumer Electronics Show, and it culminates in me going to the Soviet Union and freaking getting the Russian whatever, the Soviet Politburo to get involved with Robert Maxwell and God, all this intrigue that goes on, and there's a car chase and all kinds of stuff that never happened. Like all kinds of never happened.
This is going live, isn't it?
No, I understand, but I mean, it's 75% Hollywood, I would say.
Okay.
But that,
but it's based on the real story, and basically they surprisingly didn't invent everything. They take my wife Nina and my kids and Hank's family, real family. So it's kind of.
So it's got real stuff and basis, and we went through the script a bunch of times, and fix this, fix that. We couldn't fix the Hollywood stuff. But you know how it is when you take a picture of something that's beautiful, and then you look at the picture and you look at the real thing. The real thing is always more beautiful than the picture. It's just your eye.
Roger.
So what you're going to say?
Roger
you just exaggerate the color.
You exaggerate
so it looks real.
So that you get the same feeling as the feeling that because you're trying to transmit the feeling.
Yes.
That's why like somebody who does a painting, I mean, if the colors in nature were a little bit drab, I mean, you're not going to translate that into a drab picture.
No.
You're going to punch up the
You're
colors.
you're going to go somewhere else and get a better one.
All right. You could.
Okay,
there's always a better place.
So who is playing you?
So I'm being played by the same guy who played Elton John in Rocket Man.
Right.
And he also played the Kingsman, and his name is Taron Egerton.
Okay.
And you actually taught me how to say that properly. Egerton. It's not Egerton, it's Egerton. Who's a really nice guy, and he's a really good actor. We watched him do a scene yesterday.
Yeah.
They totally built out in a giant, well, I guess it must be a studio, but it's like a giant warehouse. They built a banker's office, they built a bulletproof software office, and they built a Hank Rogers apartment.
Yeah.
And there are scenes that are being shot in all three places.
And did it look like your apartment?
No, absolutely not. But I mean, it was all stuff.
But in style,
Yeah, so they collect all kinds of stuff from that time period.
Right.
I have an old IBM PC, which is whatever.
Or an AC computer.
But anyway, it was definitely stuff from that time period. Cassette tapes, for Christ's sakes. So the room is filled up with that kind of stuff. So it is temporally correct.
Right.
And
Alexey, who's playing you?
Yeah, well, this guy is not here now. He already done his job, and he is going to a small reshoot in Serbia now because Russian has a problem traveling in the world. No, he is
inconvenient.
He is Nikita Yefremov. His name is Nikita Yefremov. He is a very nice young actor. Pretty famous in Russia because he participated in several shows, TV shows.
Right.
Pretty good. I love him. we had a long Zoom together, and I met him and have a dinner with him while I'm in Moscow.
Right.
Before all of this nonsense.
Last year, before all this stuff, yeah. So he's good, and I just seen the episode from Henk meeting, and there was my wife involved, my cynic wife.
Yeah, pretty wife. We're at dinner, I'm sitting in their places, and there's Alexey and his wife, and we're having a conversation. It's not the conversation that we really had, but the feeling of the conversation is there.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's, and they're missing that we were always drinking.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's just how Russians make friends, is they drink together. And so I mean, I drank a serious amount of cognac. He's the one who taught me how to drink cognac straight up. We would run out of cognac and then start on the vodka and drink that, and then he wanted to go to straight alcohol, the stuff you use to clean the keyboard. I'm not drinking that stuff. It's like, oh, come on, it is very good alcohol. It's just alcohol. And I'm like, come on, I'm not drinking that. I was really drunk, and
he was really wasted at that time.
He was already wasted, yeah. So I mean, I would have liked to have a way to get back to my hotel at the end of the night, So.
Well, yeah, that was
thing.
a nice times, yeah.
Didn't Maxwell try and get Gorbachev involved in killing the deal?
Yes.
It was rumors that, yes.
He was supposed to meet Gorbachev in London when Gorbachev came to England, and Gorbachev had to leave early because of the earthquake in Armenia.
In Armenia that time.
And so we had totally, what is it?
Carte blanche.
Not carte blanche. In a contract they always said act of God. What is act
force
of God?
Majeure.
Force majeure.
Yeah.
So we had a total force majeure that happened.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the people in Armenia.
But that was the story, because he didn't meet, but I met Kevin Maxwell, the son of Robert Maxwell, and I showed him this version of the game.
Yeah.
And asked, what is this? And he said, that's the pirate version.
Oh.
Which kind of ruins all their deal and everything somehow.
Which pirate version is that?
Was Tengen cartridge or
really?
something. Yes, and he looked at it, and I was introduced. It was like a negotiation. Yeah.
I mean, he's the president of Microsoft, and he licensed it to Tengen. And he says he doesn't know what it was?
Yeah, he says it pirate version.
Wow.
That was his words. And that completely changed everything in kind of Russian mind of those kind of people that time.
Oh, I see, because
it was the direct lie, and everybody knows that.
I see.
So you're finding more out about the Tetris story
Yeah,
now.
that's right. I didn't know that. Because at a certain point during the negotiation, Mr. Belikov asked me, so, Mr. Rogers, why should we choose you instead of Kevin Maxwell? And that's like, holy shit, Kevin Maxwell? That's when I found out Kevin Maxwell was there. And I said, well, I'm not as rich as Kevin Maxwell, so I can't give you as much money up front, but I can give you an honest share of the money. I'll give you 25 cents for every copy I sell. Doesn't matter how many times it's licensed, you'll get 25 cents. And everybody else was working, all the contracts up till then that they've been working with were on percentage.
Right.
And sometimes it's a percentage of a percentage, which means nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, and you don't find out till 3 quarters later that you're getting nothing.
No.
6% of 6% of 6% is 0. So,
Did he get that? Did he get that?
Did who get?
That there was a guarantee, 25 cents.
Oh yeah, I made it very clear. It's in the contract. I made it very clear. And if I was late paying, there would be penalties. I gave my attorneys in Japan 24 hours to write me a 20-page contract with no big words because I would have to explain every word in the contract, and it had to be fair.
I thought
Because-
you said 1 page.
No,
it's 20 pages.
It's
Okay.
about
It had to be enough so that Nintendo would say yes, actually you do have those rights. It couldn't just be a letter of intent.
Right.
It was good, and Lorg after that they used that contract as the basis for all their other contracts.
Yeah.
Right. And was
Because-
that David Kwok?
No, this is
David.
before. This is when I was in Japan. So it was my Japanese attorneys.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting stuff. But none of this reflect into the. Some of this wasn't
Who
the
knows?
will be in the movie. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's going to be in the movie anymore.
Yeah.
I sort of put it out of my mind. You know.
Is this the 3rd movie?
No, it's the first movie. Why the third movie? Oh, you mean as far as the Tetris movies are concerned?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably others, but they're
It
more.
was lots
Oh,
of
there
the.
definitely others I've seen.
Yeah, but they're just game. They're about game, not about the story, not about us.
Yeah,
No
well,
movies about us.
Well, there are lots of documentaries. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
documentaries
Oh, there was a lot. I mean, 3 or 4.
from Russia with Love.
Yeah.
That was BBC. Yeah.
BBC stuff and yeah.
Yeah.
So when they made those, you guys were young enough to play yourselves.
We didn't play. That was the.
Yeah, it was the real deal. Yes, exactly.
That was documentaries. Yeah.
Well, and they took a lot of old footage to make the documentary.
Right.
So the movie doesn't have any
Oh.
old footage.
There was old footage as well.
Well, yeah. So when on my second trip, I had a video camera with me.
Mhm.
So there's, and I was recording everything because I wanted to show people back in Japan what I was going through. Nobody would believe. There's no way you can describe the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
back then. It's like, so I brought a video camera with me, and so there's us meeting and so on, and so it's I got a lot of it original footage.
Mhm.
Yeah, you in Red Square.
Red Square, yes, and whatever. Henk had a very strange impression of the Russia, he said.
Did I have? Oh, and I had Richard with me on that second trip.
Mhm.
So he must have.
Yeah, he was the.
My brother Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have taken a lot of that because I'm in some of those pictures as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did a good job, yeah. Okay,
In
so
the movie, I get to fool around with my interpreter.
and
It's funny.
and he got blackmailed after
Oh, wait,
that.
you can't, don't give away the plot now.
Yeah, give away the plot. Give me a break.
Wow.
We're not supposed to
that's-
talk about
Tell me
it.
about him being blackmailed. Okay, well, I'll give you a break because this is going to be made public.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go and pretend to switch it off and then you can tell me about Hank being Batman. I don't actually see how he could be.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they do all Hollywood
Wait. Now we're talking about the movie.
I don't.
Okay.
I just described the movie.
Okay.
I
There
don't
you
talk what
Alright.
is inside the movie. It's
Yeah.
just lots of Hollywood things with all the action elements. So basically,
Exciting.
yeah.
So for me it was exciting and terrifying all at the same time. And Hollywood does that, make sure that the movie, it's exciting and terrifying and all those things. So they do a good job.
Yeah. Well.
Nothing's ever good enough for this guy. I mean,
No.
his bar is really high, It's got to be
Yeah.
Kurosawa.
Yeah.
or,
My.
know.
Yeah. My general feeling to Hollywood production are not very high. So.
It's the same. It's the same thing as he thinks about California wine. It's like if it's not Spanish or Italian or French,
It's not
Yeah.
used for cleaning the keyboard. It
it's,
doesn't work.
it's not drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was living in Seattle, every other day this guy would come by and bottle of wine. We would pound a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's not anymore. I'm down to
You're
one.
still living in Seattle? You're still working for Microsoft?
No.
No, I used to work for them for 7 years maybe, and then I quit.
Do they work for you now?
Kind of. Sometimes I pay them for their software. So
It's
yes.
funny. So he was I was being interviewed, and I said, well, he went from the Soviet Union to working for Microsoft. And the interviewer says, wow, he went from one evil empire to another, to the other evil empire.
Yeah, if you put it this way, that's well, Microsoft was really good place to work, probably my favorite.
Okay.
Everybody complain about the bureaucracy and kind of stuff, but this is, after Soviet Union, this is just ridiculous.
They don't understand what bureaucracy is.
Yes, exactly. No.
Yeah, that's the thing that always amazed me when I was there, in the Soviet Union. How can anything actually get done here? How can they build rockets and airplanes and all of those things that are really complicated?
They are not really complicated, by the way, but they could done through the breaks. Basically, most of this stuff was built in Sharashka, which is kind of prison for intellectuals. There is a prison workplace.
A prison workplace?
Yeah, Sharashka. You didn't know that?
No, where is it?
Wow.
Is it near Moscow?
Everywhere, but
Oh.
mostly yeah. So they take the prisoner who is a scientist and say that they have a chance to get
Amnesty.
if they will do something by their specialty, and they organize some kind of working camps. They called Sharashka. You never heard this word?
I never heard this word said.
Oh,
No.
man.
Wow.
So Korolev was in Sharashka. He made his first step in airspace inside Sharashka.
Wow.
And all the nuclear stuff was done in Sharashka as well. That's why Beria, who was the Minister of Interior, was in charge for all nuclear project during the Stalin time.
Mm.
Of course, it was all in the prison camps. Come on.
Come on. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that kind of pressure, would work.
Yeah, the Solzhenitsyn novels about this.
Mm.
He has the novel called in the circle number 1, in the first circle
Yeah.
novel. That's exactly about Sharashka.
Mm.
And this was the Sharashka when all the speech recognition, the research starts.
Oh my God,
it's so close to me.
That's what he was doing when I first met him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a prisoner yet.
Well, but I met lots of them in this area, So lots of people was from the Solzhenitsyn Sharashka.
Got it.
And I met them and I shake the hands and, well, like
Speech
a legend.
recognition. They
Like
wanted to
a
be able
legend.
to
Well, they
see what everyone
they
said.
didn't do exactly the recognition because no computer existed yet. But all the studies in a speech, in acoustics and stuff, linguistics, a little bit. That was done in this Sharashka. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Food?
No, we're done with this.
No, I don't know, but I thought you were before, but I'm happy as long as you guys are.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry, so don't look at me to become hungry. I'm the wrong person.
Well, I'm flexible. If you want to do it now, we could do it now. But I'm not hungry.
Now I'm going to ask you another question then.
Yeah.
In one of the documentaries I saw, it said, when Henk started doing Tetris, and it was a huge success, he said they were making all that money and you weren't because you were on salary. He asked how he could do it, and you said, well, don't talk about it here because I will be arrested.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, can I give you money? And he said, what, you want I should go to jail? And
sorry, I think this is my niece.
Okay.
Can I take that?
It's your video.
And your phone. It's up to you completely.
Hi, Hattie. Well, we're sitting in the house now filming. Where are you? The prototype, you know, well, we're here now. I would say all plans got disrupted. Yeah, we are filming though. So shall I call you after lunch? All right. This phone call is going to be on the film.
There's a thing called editing, you know.
Hattie has completely turned around my
Your
social media. It
social-
actually works, and it's amazing.
I see your stuff all the time now
Yeah.
on Instagram, and I say like, and you little,
Yeah, that's
great.
Hattie.
Mm.
She's amazing.
Mhm.
And she's Farah's cousin. And she was going to join us and film this and
Oh, right.
join us for lunch, but
Okay.
She can still join us for lunch. Where is she? Just do that afterwards.
she's about 9 miles away, 10 miles away.
All right.
So, yeah, we got to the point
Yeah.
where you said
Yeah,
you'd end up in prison if you gave them money.
basically at the moment I came up with the game, well, it was no kind of author's protection situation. It was very gray in Russia.
Yeah.
So nobody...
No copyright, no
no
trademark.
copyright, no IP kind of ideas or... Well, it does exist for music, for literature, for books, but not in the engineering stuff. It was a patent law, but it didn't apply to the software at all. So software was
Well, there
kind
must
of-
have been some kind of copyright because
No.
the state had it.
No,
So
state
they acted
follow
like that.
the law of the other country if they need, but nothing inside the country.
Oh, so the state didn't formally own the copyright.
No.
Oh.
So when on my second trip, when I went to Moscow to get the rights for Nintendo for console, they needed to, in order to fight in court, they needed proof going all the way back to the author of Tetris.
Yeah.
And so at that time we created right of title going all the way back. So Elorg had to make a deal with the computer center, and the computer center had to make a deal with Alexey.
Yeah.
And so that deal was for 10 years starting in 1985. And so there was a paper trail that says Alexey gave his rights to Tetris granted for 10 years to the computer center,
Right,
and computer center would license it through Elorg to the rest of the world.
right.
That was the story. So in 1995, all rights
I
revert to
remember that.
Electri. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's what actually happened, and that was a very smart decision of mine because I could pretend I owe everything and then to fight till the rest of my life for those rights instead of doing something productive and creative.
Right.
So and I was kind of on everybody's side. Everybody was friendly with me, Russian side, Henk side, everybody because of this step. So smart.
So I mean, like for him to actually properly get it licensed outside was a big move,
Yeah.
and for me to license it to Nintendo for Game Boy and for console meant that we had worldwide protection because Nintendo wasn't going to let people copy this game. You know, there's a lot of games that are sort of in the Tetris genre, you know, little blocks, puzzle games, you know, like Candy Crush, whatever. The original author gets nothing, and they're not protected. Somebody could come up with a better Candy Crush and give it a different name, and it's the same game, just different graphics and different music, and there's no, Candy Crush can't say you can't make that game because that copyright has been lost in antiquity.
Right, but you
So
can't
because we went through, you know, registered.
The very big editor kind of publisher.
I remember all that going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff.
Because that was at the height of the Animatech Black Onyx period, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of things going on.
That was later, yeah. Tetris story was first.
Well, 95 sort of was the.
Yeah.
It was just before we moved to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we did all the Onyx stuff
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
What
History.
did you have to? Did that cover the Tetris on the phone?
In the movie?
No, when you did that deal, going back to the.
Well, okay, so in 95 we made a deal. 93 we made a deal. We shook hands.
Mm-hmm.
And that deal came to life in 95 when the rights were supposed to get back. In his story, his side of the story was this ministry guys, they're going to claim that I had no rights.
Right.
And sure enough, 95, it's exactly what happened. And so they tried to claim that he had no rights. And, you know, basically he had licensed his license to me so that we could fight for those rights. And I remember being in a room with Nintendo lawyers, and there was a lord with their lawyers, and I said, you know, because we were at the point where we were offering the lord 20% and they were offering us 20%. So we were very far apart.
Yeah.
And I said, look, you know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm the only person in this room who's probably not a lawyer. But, you know, at some point there's going to be a jury of Americans who are going to decide whether it was the ministry who somehow has these rights or the guy who created the game. I'm betting on the guy who created the game. And so, you know, we'll see you in court. That was sort of that meeting. That was a pretty interesting meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, that was in February of 95, and you know, all the contracts ended in the end of 1995.
Mm-hmm.
So
nobody believed that the game could live longer than.
that's right.
But that's part of the magic that you are sitting here in 2022, and it's still going amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I was surprised that nobody understood it, because for me the game was much more kind of psychological stuff than computer kind of program, and so psychology doesn't change. The people doesn't change that quickly as the hardware, you know. So,
Right.
so I just wondering why in 20 year or 30 year people won't play this wonderful game.
And geometry is geometry. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a geometry game.
Yeah.
So geometry hasn't changed since the Greeks, for Christ's sake. It's still geometry. So
Well, closer example is chess game. So it exists for good kind of 5, 6, 7 centuries, and still the rules are the same, and people still enjoying it. Now computers start destroying it because somehow, little by little, but still people enjoy playing it.
Yeah.
So psychology, people didn't change as quickly as.
Is it okay to ask you about Vladimir? Because
Well,
he only
yes.
became your partner with Animatech, or was he involved?
Yes, with Animatech. We got connected a little bit later after I created Tetris, and Tetris was already ongoing when we get connected with Vladimir, and we become partner. We did several games together, and basically we like to work with each other, and.
when I came to Moscow, he introduced me to Vladimir, and it's Pajitnov, Pohilko, Rogers.
Rogers.
So in Russian it's pi.
Pi.
Pi is the letter.
Right.
So it became 2 pi r.
Ah!
That was our little design group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we created 2 pi r.
Yeah.
So full circle. So I mean, when it was just 2 pi, it wasn't full circle yet. So
He was a nice guy, but had such an amazingly complicated history, didn't he? Because he did psychology.
He's professional psychologist, but he also loved to create. He was very creative in his methods and stuff, and he loves to.
Was he a MiG pilot?
Well, that was his rather hobby than.
you could have a hobby as a
How do you do that as a hobby?
how do you do that as a hobby? That's what I want to know.
Well, basically, I don't know the story. I didn't know him that time, but according his story, he understood that he needs to join army, and he went to the club and learned how to drive the plane, and that helped him in army. Avoid army or be in army in a special privileged state or something like that.
There was a MiG club.
No, not MiG club. It was just regular kind of civic aviation stuff.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. Okay. So he's not. Yeah. She's the one who brought it up. I never heard this story before.
You did?
No, I barely remember it, but that was something which I just listen and say yes, okay, and you guys become really excited about it for no reason.
I heard all kinds of stories about it.
Yeah.
I don't know which are true or not, but I learned that when he did one of the big electronic fairs in New Orleans, he funded the trip for all the guys by stopping off in Nevada and playing cards, and so they raised the money.
No. Come on.
That's a legend. I don't.
Well, that's a legend, right?
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't remember the story.
Okay,
frankly.
what about him winning the Moscow
Lottery.
Lottery, that was the story, yes.
Twice?
He was part, no, once.
Once they caught on to him, they had to change the system.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't his initiative. He was just a part of the team there. But that's the fact that they have this lottery, and the lottery you kind of mark 6 number out of 49, and you got kind of half of the organizer are collected, goes to the prize. And somehow they observe the numbers for series of lottery and find some kind of discrepancy in the randomness of those balls.
So his theory was there is no such thing as a human-made random number.
Yeah, something like that.
There's always a pattern, and so they used the computer to look for a pattern. They found a pattern.
They found the pattern, and all of a sudden, after 3 or 5 or 6 kind of attempt, finally they got the 6 number and lots of winning around 5 number, 4 number, or whatever. So they got a whole bunch of money. Yes,
More money than he was ever going to make as a professor of psychology at Moscow University.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, but it wasn't his idea. He was a part of the team there.
Okay.
And they hire a lot of girls to kind of put those tickets to fill up the tickets.
Oh, I see. I said they had to buy lots of.
Yeah, they buy lots of tickets, and somebody literally needs to kind of mark it 6 numbers.
Oh, right. I see.
According to some schema or whatever.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and And actually, one of my my girlfriend, I discovered she was a part of this team. You know, that was
Selling
amazing.
lottery tickets.
Yeah, it was amazing. They pay some kind of small pennies for this job. Or whatever. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you, in all these years, I don't know how many years it is now, but it's football. How long ago was it you invented Tetris? 40 years?
About 40 years ago, 84. So. Yeah, almost 50. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost 50 years. It's going to be 50 years in 2 years.
50 years?
50. Is it 50?
No.
Yeah, 50.
40.
40.
1984, 1994, 2004, 2014, 2024.
24. Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
5.
Oh, okay, sorry. 40.
Do you do business with people who can't count?
Yeah,
Yeah.
40 years ago. Yeah.
That's still a while, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, know what? The people wondering, they consider the lifetime of the typical computer game is 3 years
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah.
Well, puzzles are a little bit longer, maybe 5 years. The best one are 10. Well, the best one, which is Candy Crush, is probably 15 already. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No. Tetris,
But a
Tetris
lot of
is
the more
14.
complicated games get upgraded every couple of years, don't they?
Yeah, they need to redecorate it and whatever, refresh it somehow. That's what everybody does. Yeah. That's how it works.
Shall we go have lunch?
Well, you know, if you're
Unless
not
you have
hungry yet, I'll take you a mile up the road and show you something.
Yeah, we're talking about Bluebell?
Oh, well, there was that too.
Oh, not even.
What is Bluebell?
It's a
Steam
real
trains.
Steam train.
Huh? Okay.
You like steam trains?
Steam trains?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a lot of enthusiasm.
Well,